spice. And of course, right now, in full order, we are also writing over to the YouTube as I speak. Spice. All right, of course, right now, give thanks to that. Blessed love to each and every one. Give thanks for your presence. Of course, we glorify the life giver and the keeper of life, Emperor Haile Selassie I, the eternal Father of creation, Negus and Agas, in his mighty name, the power and might of the Holy Trinity. We do say greetings, Tenestalin, Salamta, and joy and happiness to the international world. Of course, we represent the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress Church of True Divine Salvation. We are very thankful to be representing such a Congress that was established to even make sure that international justice and peace and rights be spread across the earth, four winds universal. And this is why the principles of this Congress stand to land every man and woman under his or her own vine and fig tree, with international repatriation and freedom and redemption, a subject which we would have spoken of even in our previous program. So we give thanks continually as we welcome to the House of Priests. Give thanks to the two priests even at this moment on the platform, myself, Honorable Priest Isaac, and Honorable Kes Westmore, my Lord, blessed love.
The love and
we give thanks for the full joy of the community. So as is customary, I would ask for full reverence internationally. And of course, give thanks for all those who are keeping this order and principle. Four winds universal, earth, sky, and sea, as we utter a short glory be. Holy Manuel, Selassie. Rastafari. Glory be to our
Father and to the Son,
to the Holy One of creation. As Jah
was in the beginning, it's now and ever shall be, the world and
Selassie,
Jah
Rastafari. And I was ever so glad when they said unto I, let us go up unto the mountain of the Lord, the mountain of the King of Zion, the mountain of the King of Ethiopia, and thy feet shall stand in thy holy palaces, Almighty Negus Nagas, King Emmanuel VII.
Down Jah
Rastafari. Give thanks for another evening of reasoning. Give thanks for the upful meditation of this day. Give thanks for joy and happiness and the Sabbath that has passed, and the strong that is before us, asking for such eternal guidance throughout the holy universe and the God within us, as we affirm our prosperity and we affirm our success, and we affirm that we're moving all obstacles out of our way. Father and Mother of creation, Selassie,
Jah Rastafari.
Blessed love.
Blessed love, my Lord. Give thanks. And majesty.
Honorable Kes Westmore, my Lord.
Blessed love, my Lord. Give thanks. Majesty.
Yes, my Lord. Just making you say a word before, we go into the full depths.
Oh, give thanks to life again, my Lord. Give thanks to the moments. Give thanks to the sabbatical journey. Give thanks to all good things sent from Zion above. All blessings to our sons and daughters, four wings of earth, wherever you are at this time, from the foundation to North, to South America, the Caribbean, to the motherland, Europe, Asia, wherever you find yourself in this time. Even if you want to be in a space shuttle, but give thanks to all those who are tuning in at this time. Give thanks to all good things, Give thanks to Emperor Haile Selassie. Give thanks to the victory of good over evil. We give thanks to Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And we give thanks to the Black Secretary General who is bringing in our home. Give thanks to the teachings of the Most Right Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. And I give thanks to this Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress, Church of Divine Salvation, what it stands for, and I give thanks such principles and to try his works to do, try your works to do, because it's all about consistency in doing your works. And that's the result, and that's what we should be reaping in this time. It's the consistency of your works. And then I will see everything, So give thanks to life again, and give thanks to rise in the priesthood order. Give thanks to the mother of creation continually who's watching over our flocks, we're watching over I continually. So we give thanks to the presence of Empress Menen, Queen Omega in the midst of I to see that everything goes through accordingly within the justice box. Bless the love, my Lord, and give thanks to such topic this evening in book and Bible, because that is the way. So we give thanks to the Majesty, the inner apostle this evening, as you continue with the word, my Lord, and we'll share and give thanks to those that have an ear to let it hear as we give thanks to our clarification and every good thing, because these are our subjects, these are our topics, and we have to reason upon them. That means, it's just one God, one aim, one destiny, there's one saying, in one mutual love. Give thanks to life, my Lord. Bless the Lord.
My Lord, give thanks to Emmanuel Selassie.
That's the far right.
Well, give thanks, as they say, give thanks to the Empress in the justice box. Yeah, guys, as you know, is just make sure everything is in order on this time on this side. There's a lot of different buttons and lights and all kind of thing in front. You don't know we're streaming to radio, and we're live on YouTube and maybe touching some other angles too. So, even at the same time, making sure the ship running smooth. So as the I say, give thanks, for the Empress in the justice box. Even as I speak into the eye, just making sure the compass is set right and everything. Yes, my love, the joy. Yes, so as we spoke this evening, and even those specifically on the YouTube, they themselves can see for sure what we definitely intend to touch upon this evening. And it is a reasoning, as this is the House of Priests. Welcome to the House of Priests, and we welcome each and every one. And basically what we do on this program, we come together and reason on subject areas directly dealing with the Congress and the order that the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards would have established. Of course, one of our first subject areas, if not the first, I think it was Melchizedek. So starting off from that point, so you could understand that basically this is Melchizedek's order that we really come here to talk about. One of our main mantras, as you would know, we do not come here to count cows, we come to drink the sincere milk. And I think that this subject area really will be filled with the sincere milk, enough nutrients. The reason why we picked the subject again, because as we said, it's all things Bobo Shanti. And one would hear the phrase that would have become the topic for this evening. You would hear that it being used as a part of our culture once you are accustomed to this order. Hymn book and Bible way. Watch and pray. And when it comes to the specific order, sometimes you would hear an individual speak of the Bible being the compass, and of course the hymn book and the Bible going together. Now we live in an age where, number one, let me start with the Bible. We live in an age, and I'm not going to take the conversation really from, let's just say, the pushback level. I looking at it from what King Emmanuel teaches. But we live in an age now where the Bible itself, even amongst Rastafari, not that it has become a thing of conversation or something to look into, that has always been there. But it has become a object and a tool that many ones would strongly, totally reject. Now we'll get to that. Now the hymn book is almost a totally different thing by itself. Because the Bible is one thing, and certain ones could tolerate even an argument about the Bible. I said, boy, I mean, really too much in the Bible thing, because, and the boy, that Bible thing right now, man, too much, and but they will tolerate a discussion. They will even say, boy, so wait, you believe this and that in the Bible? But then when they say hymn book, man wants to know what you talking about. When is a hymn book, brother? What do you mean? Them book that them people just be singing in church. Now, I purposely go from that angle too. And even as Rastafari, because I come, well, for my reasoning here, I come in full circle. But even as Rastafari, you know that when I came into this in the earlys, the Nyabingi as, the Nyabingi theocracy, because in Wadadli here in Antigua, you don't know how it is, Bobo Shanti wasn't really a big thing at all. So when you say Rasta in Antigua, it was more the Bingi man. That's the image you get right away. That's what people knew. So even when we start to move Bobo Shanti, ones want to know what kind of Rasta you be. They don't really ask that now, but at that time, what kind of Rasta you be? That's exactly what they would say. They would even ask me if I'm a Muslim and all these different things. So anyway, ones would always be testing the Bobo Shanti. Bobo Shanti, ones would always stress that Bobo Shanti came out of Nyabingi. So they ain't got a problem with me, but I just need to understand that they were first and I was grafted out of them. And that's something that they really push. So I'm just saying now, so in my studies, we're not really here to argue about who first and who not first, and not the first thing really. But in my studies and understanding, this order that King Emmanuel would have set up, I study Pinnacle King, I study Pinnacle, I study the youth Black Faith, you know what I mean? I meet people like Mama Dean and Congo Rocky and so already, even Bongo Watu. And from my understanding, all the elders that just passed on the Bongo Isaac, I listen to these people talk, whether it's on video or in person. And I know that I take my notes. So now, I check in this order here, the King Emmanuel order. I get into the Bible and hymn book. I check in this King Emmanuel order here and the way that it's set up. I wasn't there in the 60s. I wasn't there in the 50s. I have to depend on what the elders tell me, all the elders. I don't think one's going to come and blatantly lie, but what tends to happen is ones have a different outlook and maybe the same truth. So I got to be wise now as a younger one to be able to balance this. All right. So we were all Bingi then, I'm to believe. And somehow maybe King Emmanuel go his own way, something like that, and maybe make up his own thing. All right. Bongo Isaac say that in the earlys, and that's how he talked, but in the earlys, we never used to smoke in the tabernacle. Bongo Isaac. It's only now is the man coming and passing chalice and big split in the tabernacle. I wasn't there. I have to take a man like Bongo Isaac word. Bongo Isaac run from police in the Coral Gardens massacre. I don't even know if my mother met my father at that time. And I'm saying it like that for a reason, because he would know. Now, as we know, Bobo Shanti don't smoke in the tabernacle. It is one thing that stand out. Even when I first sight of Farai, chalice in the Bingi house was a must. It was just a natural thing, but a one that was there before that became the culture is telling us we never smoke in the Bingi house. All right. Mama Dean now. Mama Dean is an elder Bingi woman. She was like Bongo Watu's secretary. Mama Dean said that they would keep Sabbath every Saturday. Mama Dean said that they would wear white. This is what Mama Dean said. These are things they don't do no more. They used to do. This is a used to do conversation here. Mama Dean, you hear calling the name over and over. Mama Dean say, I know we're not counting cows and I just bring my evidence here. Say that we used to wear white every Sabbath and gather together. In fact, Leonard P. Howell, who is highly recognized by many as the founder of Rastafari, his daughter says that she can remember that at Pinnacle, Pinnacle, we used to keep Sabbath and we would wear white every Sabbath. That is Leonard P. Howell's daughter. She's still alive. Back to Mama Dean. Mama Dean say, and she said this with a little feeling. She said, she don't know why. You hear this, no? She don't know why the Rasses them stop use the Sankey hymn book. Because we used to use the Sankey hymn book every Sabbath. And it has a very nice and sweet song. That's a video on YouTube you can find. She was interviewed by Bongo Flacco. Now, what I'm saying, and I can go on, everyone know that in the earlys, everyone used to fly the Ethiopian flag with the red up. Now, for whatever reason, ones don't really fly it with the red up. For whatever reasons, ones stop keep the Sabbath and wearing whites on the Sabbath. And for whatever reason, I want start to smoke in the tabernacle. And for whatever reason, I want stop use the Sankey. Everything that I just mentioned a moment ago, Bobo Shanti still do it. So when I hear a person say, well, we as Bobo Shanti left, like, well, maybe King Emmanuel as a man left a group of people behind. But the impression that I'm getting is that he walked with the order that everybody was following. Because the group that was left behind, and this is nothing against the group, is, as they clearly say, not keeping up the same things that they were keeping up when the same Bongo Eddie was with them. Now, I say all of that to reach back into the realms of the Bible and the hymn book. Now, the Bible for itself, we know the Bible, we can have a conversation on the Bible, and maybe when I come in the next round, I'll talk of the Bible. But let me just delve on the hymn book for a moment, because you get reasoning on Bible all day long, and King James Version, and who translate, and we in Ethiopia have the oldest version and all of that. But let's get into the hymn book. Now, what I comprehend of King Emmanuel for sure, this is not religion at all. Yes, there's a theological concept here, without a doubt. But when you study our theology, it's still not a religious theology. It is a God within the flesh theology. It is a self-enhancement theology, which is the order of the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. Now, in ancient times, family, we always sang hymns. That's why you have the hymn to attend. That's what it's called, the hymn to attend. It's not no mistake why we call it a hymn, neither. H-Y-M-N, hymn. But it's hymn. It's a hymn unto him, His Imperial Majesty. Now, hymn, when we sing a hymn, it's a church hymn and amen hymn. In fact, it's just, I think it was previous evening after the Sabbath, listening to radio and when some bingy was playing. And I said to myself, me personally, as an individual that would have, grown up in the Anglican church and well, I wouldn't use the term grow up, but that's where whatever church I got, it was to the Anglican church. When I know regular thing like it was every Sunday thing, at least not for me. But I got enough to know enough. And listening to, I don't remember what hymn it was. But it once was, oh man, which hymn it was? I know the hymn, man, it coming to me now. No, it's not Just As I Am. It's not Just As I Am. It was something similar to Just As I Am. Just as I am without one plea. But it's not that hymn. But whatever hymn it was, I was saying to myself, look how King Emmanuel just take them church hymn, boy, and just turn them into Naya Bingy. That's exactly what I said. And I observed that Rasta in general, there's no record of I doing that. Yes, we're known for taking some little gospel clap song, you know, Meet Me by the River, and kind of twist it up and add some little thing to it. But what King Emmanuel did, because again, you know, let's keep this in mind. King Emmanuel is a father that came to wean us off of our Babylonish ways. Not tear you in, cool, what happened here? He take his time and he wean us off. That's how I see it. Even down to our diet. I don't want to go too deep into that. We'll have a program on that one day. But to me, he wean us off. In fact, let me be clear. Enough ones will tell you, Bobo, eat fish and bread because Christ gave fish and bread. I personally consider that was a weaning off process. I mean, we got to move on. Let me show you what you call weaning off. Now, every morning in morning devotion, the last chorus that sing every morning is great change since I was born. Now, myself, I have youths that I bring in this faith. I mean, everyone have their own mind, eh? But I know I bring them in this faith. And from all signs, they going good in the faith. Yeah, I have youths in the faith, my Lord, coming up in this faith here. And many ones bringing their youths in the faith. Now, this is a growing order. Now, me and you can sing. It's a great change. It has been a great change since I was born. In fact, for anyone, life brings great changes. But the theme of that chorus is that I was doing the wrong things before. That's the theme of the chorus. But I'm doing the right things now. I used to go the wrong place. That don't apply to the children, that those of us that keeping them stern in this order, bringing up. So they have to come a time where we make a conscious decision to drop the Hindi. That chorus, because it would not apply to certain ones, especially a generation of righteous that are born in it. Of course, there are always going to be people that come to it that chorus might, apply to. But still, those of us who are the custodian of this, because King Emmanuel leave us as the custodian of this. This is the point I really making, is not for us to go tomorrow and try to trade it, But at least let's put our head on knowing that we need to advance his order. That's what all I'm saying. And I'm trying to take over and say, time we stop saying that. Because that's the next thing. I don't like when we approach these things. So a lot of ones approach it with a lot of negative attitude. Hey, boy, time we stop reading them book. Boy, time we stop. Okay, I agree. But we don't have to be so savage about it. How about saying, my Lord, I think we need to have a council now. To me, that's more, To me, we have too much anger in us. Just to make a little simple point. Everybody like, boy, them man still read them book. You don't have to act like that. We can be civilized. You can say, my Lord, I think we need to have an ecumenical, like what Priest Dougie did the other day. I think we need to, didn't King Emmanuel say we need to write new hymn books, which is what I get into. King Emmanuel teach us these things. Now we need to write our own hymns. I just never got to it yet. Maybe that's not my calling. Anybody that study history, Ethiopian history, know about the great hymn writer, Jared. That Jared is the one that, I can't remember date and time, but he kind of turned around the whole, I don't know if liturgy is the right term for that, but the whole hymn singing for the Ethiopian church, Jared or Yared. Anyone that study him, they'll know. So Yared may be amongst us, and maybe Yared need to wake up and start going into their books and start to create new word sound, you understand, and putting them in order. I was listening to the brother Mandeke from the brothers in England there. What's the name of the Al Kebelan revival group? And they were singing this hymn. I don't think it was a church hymn. It was something African, and they were using it, but it had this kind of sound like how our hymns sound.
That's the fire.
It sounds so sweet And it wasn't our bingy drum, but it was a thing like that. And I have it, it plays on radio and from time to time. And it sounds so sweet. And every time I hear it, it reminds me of the whole idea of us. Because King Emmanuel teaches us we have to learn Amharic, isn't it? I see that in the Black Supremacy book. Even yesterday, I was reading the King's speech to the UN, the League of Nations Parliament. The King said he have to speak in Amharic because no other language, that's what he said, would allow him to express himself the way he wants to. And he give America stick there to me. And I say, So I'm saying all of these things when we talk about the hymn book. Some people, the Sankey and all of that. But again, these were things for us to wean off. But we can't be on the weaning level forever. Because I totally agree. There's certain hymns I don't even like when man pull them hymns. To me, like there's certain hymns, they're too stale to me in Christendom. They're just staying. I hate when man pull joy to the world. The Lord is gone. The man sometimes just want to come off. To me, it's just staying. It's too stale. So we're reaching to a point that we need to go over the threshold. Now, I'm not rushing it into existence, but at least we should be aware that, hey, it's time that we start wean off of even the things that we were given to wean off of. Coming from our diet, even the hymns that we are singing. So the thing to me is that we need real classes to learn our language. If you want to talk about the Bible, King Emmanuel clearly tell us about the Bible being symbolic and it have wrong and right in it. And you have to leave the wrong and take the right. Them is some serious statements. You understand? He even clearly shows that this very same Bible here, specifically the King James, when we're going up the River Nile, we have to dispel that. We're going to throw that away and write our new Bible. So all of these things here, when we say hymn book and Bible, because a lot of ones kind of shift a bit like hymn book and Bible, we sound like Sunday school. But again, from my perspective, a lot of it is a weaning off process, specifically with the hymns. I want to clearly see that a lot of those hymns, they were put together by some real wicked people. We know that. Whether it's John Smith, Count whoever, all you have to do is research and see who write the hymn. And that's why when we sing the hymn, we just change around a lot of them words. And because the words have been ill-placed, so we just change them around. But the Father put us in an order, expecting us not to fall asleep now, to improve the day that God has blessed. That's a hymn we say, family. He says to improve the day that God has blessed. Speaking of the Sabbath, meaning that as perfect as he set the order, it was like a template for us to build on it. And I see sometimes we kind of sleep on that point there. We're not building or expanding or even adding to the template that the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards would have set for us. Conceptually, So we kind of just stick where we leave us. We just stick there. Is this we have to say? It have to go this. And I understand, you don't want to remove the marks, the ancient landmarks. But we are wise people. We have to sit down as wise priests, prophets, and empresses and say, hey, listen, this has to stay like this, But you see this part here? Not that it have to move, No, but we have to. You can tell me we can sing Psalm 24 chant in English forever? No. Why we can start there, We can start there. We have to start somewhere. We can learn Psalm 24 in Amharic and then chant it in Amharic. It can begin there. That can be the first major step that Bobo made as a movement going forward out of the English Christendom light. We might be doing it for 2 generations to come, but it have to start here. I'll let my words be free, my Lord, Holy Emmanuel. All right.
Yes, Majesty. Give thanks to life, Honorable. Give thanks to the congregation and give thanks to the fire and give thanks to the voice that speaketh deep within. Give thanks to the beginning, without ending. So it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. Give thanks to the continuity of Rastafari. And we give thanks, as we said, the prophet, the priest, and the king, If I must have word and make us man, always say to a man, say, you ever consider who Marcus Mosiah Garvey is, it? Man speaking about, he's a powerful man, The man is the word, The man that come to redeem black people, The man with the vision. Or if you could see what's in his mind, why am I for black people? So certain things speak out. And that is what is necessary for us to see what's in his mind. Him speak out so then can take on to flesh and show us the way to see what's in his mind. So your king would have to be like you, that governing and seeing you first is race, to save that race. So you couldn't look out and you see the man that stand up for save your race and all humanity, but especially in race of people, Emperor Selassie. And him tell Marcus Mosiah Garvey come again and speak again, and him sure say, we have to have our own spirituality. Not their own religion, what them are. We have to, the Negro, the black man must have something different. Our hymns, them different. And if we're singing the hymns, we change the words in the hymns. And when we look, we see an ancient of days that continue. Can you see? Christ is not if or maybe. Christ is a living man. The lion does not fall apart. The lion creates a path. If you're walking through hell, our man say, you must walk through hell. It don't mean you must stop when you walk through hell. Walk through hell, because walk through it, you will reach over the other side. But if you stop and remain in there, you remain in there. Like a man say, I go through hell, well, go through it, pass through it. Now, on the way passing through it, you will see different things, and they will, you're not condemning people, but you will see all kind of people. You'll see those that sown by the wayside and it come up and then it wither down, and you will see all kind of seeds that are planted. But walking through the midst of it, you carry your liberty through the midst of it, going through, because you never change. So you can't remain in hell, because if you remain in hell, you're probably going to stop singing out of the Sankey. If you remain in hell there and empty, then now you're going to stop wear your whites and keep the Sabbath. If you remain there in hell, all these things that you used to do, you're going to stop, because that's what hell is. You have to move on. So you carry on the work to establish it. So, meaning to say, the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards carries the order with him, because he's the living order of the Sabbath, the dressing, the ancient way, because going into the hymn books, and that is why the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress is a school room. And why is it a school room? And it is not been a school room of followers. It's a school room of students that will take the knowledge and bring it to the higher region where it's supposed to be. Everyone coming to the school room enters and show the beginning of the school room. What is start at the beginning, but it never tell you, so you must remain at the beginning, because the beginning is telling you what you must elevate yourself to be. Because if you're stuck at the beginning, you will just always be there at the beginning. But the beginning is always there, not to come to count cause, but to drink milk. So the beginning is always there for the babes also. So the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, as the ancients will them tell you, say, remember, you know, them use the church and enough black people in the church. And King Emmanuel said, majority of the people in that go and come praise him, them in the church.
Mm.
He said, they shall be weeping of joy because the same knife for them use and sheep it end up in a state by the goat. Even reference to the Bible. So you find out I sing certain hymns and certain choruses because remember we're going over. As I tell a man, say, you couldn't enter into Zion or Ethiopia, you still sing a song, a chorus. I want to go home to that land where I'm from. Therefore, you're just in the schoolroom and you'll only be a follower, but not a student that you're listening the work of the headmaster, which is telling us what to do. Because from ancient of times, the man will tell us that, you know, just have to write our own courses, you know, and our own hymns. And we have to rewrite the Bible. Now, if we be a follower, only we're going to only speak of it. So, Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards asks against the people them that you read about every day and everything in the Bible, where them there? And people are quiet and say, but it's the I them. It's I and I are the living Bible. So that is where it is now. The Bible is like a compass because it still teaches you all of the right and wrong, and it is sure you say in the midst of chaos and everything, there was always a few builders. It's a handful of corn. So it sure say it has in the midst of hell in this time also, as Marcus Garvey said, you know, believe like him not still like one of those Christians who think say the Bible going to fulfill everything or the answer for everything. You know, in that sense, I'm showing you. Understand? So it's prophecy and history. And as the idea always say, if you don't know your prophecy, your Bible going to become like a mystery. And I always love that speech on the eye, which is true. Because there are things that are fulfilled and there are things that yet to fulfill. So if you study the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, although you read of the biblical book also, there are certain specific scriptures that he points out in the Bible to show you what is really going, a compass. And then even in this time again, Marcus Mosiah Garvey tells us your reader shall be your Bible in his last days, his last judgment. So when you read of your Bible and you speak of the chaos and many things, because people talk about even the great flood that it come upon the world within the Bible, because it's a study to make yourself approve. And if you read the Bible carefully and you study even the liberty of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, you realize that codes start to decipher because the Bible is so full of codes, as I would then decipher it many times and ancient races before. What is really going on, because you know, you tell you of the world that was destroyed by the flood, and the Bible has some different languages in it. What does flood mean? Because it's still the storms of life, wars upon the face of the earth also. There were 8 souls. What did the 8 souls do? Did they go into a covenant? And move themselves from this war that is going on in the ends of the earth also? What kind of peace treaty was signed after the flood? Oh, there was a peace treaty was flying, but there was a dove to go outside and see if no negotiation should be going on, a peace on the face of the earth. And there was nothing signed, but they were still in meeting and dialogues. That's why the dove couldn't come in this time and come with the olive branch again. because it's still working out. To see if it's peace now, and the 8 family could come forward again upon the face of the earth. And the dove went out this time again, and there was peace. So the families could come out because there's a covenant also, just like with the United Nations within this time also. There's a covenant that is going on the face of the earth, rumors and rumors of war. Emperor Haile Selassie, I speak of it until all Africans stand and speak as free beings. For the peace upon the face of the earth. That is why everything is linked with the biblical book and what is going on at the moment with the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. Micah chapter 4, the house of the Lord shall establish in top of the mountains and shall be exalted above all it, and all nations shall flow unto it. So there are certain specific parts of the Bible that are mentioned because all nations flow upon it. 10 miles out of the bloody city, all nations flow unto it. For the Lord shall go forth. And many people say, go for Bobo Hill, man, them have the law, man, them have the liberty. It's the same thing. Universities, everyone come. And what they hear about is how to have peace upon the face of the earth, everyone to go back under their own vine and fig tree, because when you come to Bobo Hill, that is what it is speaking about, that world peace. Every nation to their own vine and fig tree. And those who have never yet heard of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, who come, whether there's police or soldier, the commissioner of police or any universities, know that it's through the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Men shall put on them sword and beat it into pruning hooks because you have to feed the people. To stop the hunger and the poverty and all these things that is going on. So these specific books that King Emmanuel Charles Edwards speak and down the valley of Jehoshaphat and plead for his people. So there are certain specific things to link for the mystery of the man going through. And as he redeem his children, that's why the chorus is there, you know. And we sing it even sweeter to them too, you know, because that is it, you know. As we're speaking about is the consistency. It's the consistency of that that's supposed to continue. It was the consistency of not letting go the whites, but continue to hold the white. It's the consistency of reverence in the tabernacle and no, it's not a smoking area. It's the consistency of this that lead to the inside of Rastafari, where Rastafari it is all about, to keep us within a unified manner of fundamental freedom, redemption, international patriation. They used to have a song that sing a Sankey and find a way back home. I think was somebody was some book coming, I think. You see? Because you see, yeah, I think there's some love in there, I think. But is that song they have in Jamaica that sing a Sankey? I never knew of any Sankey hymn book. You see? But there are certain hymns also within it. That's why you see the books where Bobo Shanti have studied. You have the redemption songs hymnal. Certain hymns are only found in that book. So we use have that. You have the hymns of the fasting. Then you have the sacred songs and solo. Certain sabbatical hymns, if you realize it, found in that book. Another 6 days work is done, the order of the Sabbath. Then you have the ancient and modern. But the ancient and modern now, majority of the hymns that we sing out of it, sometimes you might see it in that book, it's different, or you see it in that next book, it's different. But the ancient and modern is like the ancient man and the young man together in one. And then you have the Black Christ hymnal now, where all these hymns that are in these books are selected and compiled. So it's a book now, like we're writing our own books then. So I and I making sure that, as you said now, moving from that level then now. Meanwhile, we're reading these things, we're building our own. So certain specific in, yeah man, this is the way it's supposed to sing. All right, you ready, you review, edit, put it in the Black Supremacy book, Black Christ hymnal. And our books are not say they remain the same. Because the priesthood order, the works of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards Melchizedek order to solve, it will take litigation of man and man research As you see, you have a thing and edit and make sure say this right him going out there in my Lord. My Lord, let us make sure we not put the white as wool in that in a black as wool. We make sure say the words out there. Oh, you see this? We've been singing this thing for over the years and now it won't bring confusion because when a man go up on the altar now and probably sing it that way then. You see it? So it's the hymn book and Bible way. So as we build ourselves, we're supposed to rejoice in Zion, you know. Meaning, you know, it's a rejoicing in Zion now. We have been enough going home chorus. We have been enough chorus we reach from. So within that now, what we create in ourselves, we move from a stagnation point of view, wherein now we find ourselves in Zion. So automatically we put ourselves in Zion. That is I seeing Zion and going into Zion. Now, if we see ourselves alone just to be mourning in hell, we just go mourn and mourn and mourn in hell. Till they say, boy, hell get harder. I'm going to have to keep my Sabbath this week, you know, make try to catch it next week.
Deep.
You see? Because hell only I get tighter and tighter, you know. If you remain in hell, but to elevate and sing now and then write our own things, because we must never look out of ourselves. To the chief musician, man, just like to the chief musician upon Maskill, you could say to the chief musician upon Bobo Hill. You see it? A Samuel song. Upon him, priest Isaac, a Samuel song from David's son, because you know, and I priest Shimon is David's son, not David's son. And David's son. So yeah. I can still do these things, and this is what the Honorable King Emmanuel, because hymn book and Bible way. So we have an ensemble already of the hymn book and Bible and what it contains or what it's supposed to entail in it. That means that I and I now begin the writing, because time wasted cannot come forward. You know? That is why I and I as priests now, we must find ourselves in any little ningy thing or in other time, because we have a mission in front of us. Because if it is not there, you know, no man who is a priest can say, oh, comes. No. That is why from a prophet, acting priest, a leading prophet, to become a priest, you have the iron of the authority to write the hymns, man, the singing of freedom, redemption, and tell, because just as when the person come, because remember, you know, for example, I was giving you an example. Some people leave the Christian faith, man, and them come and them hearing these things. I mean, them come, them clapping fast, you know, but because them still have that hymn, them used to clap fast. But you slow them down and them listening more. And those tears that them used to shed in the church out there, it become a greater tears now too, because he or she feel the living being, you know, the living God. They find themselves. So holding that joy now, because it's redeeming. I bring them in, them go and cry. Yeah, man, we pass them in there already. We know what it is. But these hymns is for you a beginning of cleansing. Now listen, man, here I know. You see all that sorrow you does have. Hear the hymns now. That telling you how beautiful Zion is. That telling you about those who have gone on before. So therefore, you're not seeing heaven in a sky, you know, you realize heaven is a movement going through, so you're redeeming the congregation. So that is all these hymns are from beginning to another level. As I said, we're evolving. We're not staying, we're not becoming stagnant. And we mustn't be like that, because it's prophecy and history that is going on. Because meanwhile, the breaking away was going on. Because remember, you know, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because He had anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He had sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives. So the priest's work is never over, and it can never over as long as it's there. So it's songs of redemption. Because the redemption song, the sacred songs, the ancient and modern, the choruses, we're supposed to have a lot of choruses. And hymns, we're supposed to be singing a lot of choruses and hymns every day because I know the same people. There's nothing new. That is what the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards is showing us. From that time in slavery, when them cut the ancients locks and them things were coming up, and these people holding the spirituality was coming up, was coming. So still hold that spirituality, and that is why all the time the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards has been walking through the valley of the shadow of death and fear no evil. And holding up for even I and I to come and hold on also. Hymn book and Bible. And that is why someone said, what Bible. It never mean, because you see, until you come to Bobo Shanti, you realize that Bobo Shanti don't just stuck in the Bible. It's a liberty, it's a government. And the Bible, as Father Show said, it's word and works. So after you finish the Bible, the man says, study to make yourself approved. Read good books, philosophy and opinions of John, Marcus, Mosiah, Garvey, and publish and conceal not the living Bibles. God is doing a great works as a living Bible, audio tapes, because you are in that dispensation of time. So we give thanks and ever, Majesty.
Majesty. Give thanks for such words, song, my Lord.
My Lord.
Give thanks to the full family. You know, we have enough ones there with us, both the radio and on the YouTube, of course. Give thanks. Welcome to everyone. You know, welcome to the House of Priests. That's the name of the program, really. Welcome to the House of Priests. So we welcome you to welcome to the House of Priests. Of course, Honorable Priest Isaac, Honorable Kes Westmore, the Honorable Priest Richie with us here. Beautiful evening. And we're speaking hymn book and Bible way. You know, I still want to stick on the hymn book and the hymn part of it for a moment, because
Sure.
as I say, with the hymn, you know, it's a very mystical thing and differently than whatever hymn book. And give thanks to, let me say that too, the books that they highlight. But outside of the books and even the language, you know, it's just the whole concept of the science of the hymn. And that is why, you know, just want to make sure the congregation understand that. That is why I mentioned before that hymns, as they call them, are nothing strange to us. No. You know, in fact, one or two of them hymns they do, you know, history would prove that is the slaves, as they call them, the Africans, that they, especially on them ships, that these captains would have heard them singing and would take their product and even convert it into their own thing. You know? Yeah, man. So it already, yeah, so that alone as history is showing you at the same time. You don't want to, as they say, throw out the baby with the bath water. There's a spirit to it. Most elders, maybe the I do, would especially when one come to the hill for the first time, and they come in when some grand service was going on, ones I always remember the hymn that they heard when they came in. I've been to a few ones, and it's usually a hymn. It's like if this hymn rise to greet them. It's usually a hymn like Ring the Bells of Zion. Somebody come home from the wild, or if it's not the hymn, my son, welcome home. Some sort of hymn of that level there where it's giving you this welcome feeling. And it's usually elders that are long-standing elders now that will tell you, oh yeah, man, the first time I come, I can remember the hymn. It was out on the ocean sailing. And you know, it's always some sort of hymn that come on in. Here this other one, the harvest hymn there, man. Harvest him, King. Bring that harvest home.
Bring them.
Thankful people come.
Oh,
whose testimony was that?
right.
I think that testimony is, if it's not Priest Chris, someone testimony, but all these hymns, every hymn I call there is an elder tell me that, you know. For me, thankful people who come,
Yes.
ring the bells of Zion. What was the other one? My son,
Right.
and the fourth one I called, out on the ocean sailing, hymns. And these are different elders that would have given me that account. Priest Headley and Mama Maisie is one of them teams there. Who else would have? I think Priest Lamont too, you know, is one of those. You know, I just can't align with him with who, you know, but just because it's kind of vague in my memory now. But the point I'm making really is that, remember, we're dealing with the power of sound.
Sure.
And singing is a very powerful thing. That is why even within the whole structure of King Emmanuel now, choir and choir practice is very important. See, like how we just go in tabernacle and anybody kind of sit down anywhere. Man said, no, in the early times, is chief choir angels.
Yeah, man, the choir master them, man, and them there, man.
Occupy right behind Daniel Band.
Right.
First, second, maybe down to the third row. Just know it's, you don't even have to worry about the empresses because somehow they seem to have it down pat. I don't know how women do it, but sometimes it's man you're struggling with them and some man singing half a key. And they're singing the loudest too, you know. Sometimes you're on the altar and say, my Lord, singing the song. You know what I mean? Listen. I don't know how ones do that, brother. How you can sing the loudest and your thing totally off key. But the thing is now, because that is important. That is why, you know, anyone who know the ear of this hymn is free to rise. Sometimes they hear the priest, you know, not everybody check this, you know, sometimes the priest say. And I learned this, you know, I check most time, and you know, I listen and study the elders. I notice when it's the Psalms chant, at least in the early times, the priest would say, any priest upon the altar. I've know the ear of this chant. So even when I carry the Psalms chant, that's what I say, you know, any priest upon the altar. I always say, even though, you know, I mean, next one might know it and rise it, but I just do what I learn. Any priest upon the altar. But if it's a hymn now, I would say anyone, you know, from the altar to the congregation. To be honest, I never reason with nobody about that, you know, to say if that's the right thing, you know. I just observe it. And yeah, you know me, certain things, I just gonna stick with it like how I see it from them time, you know. So you could see now, the main thing I'm saying is that the rising of the hymn is a very important thing.
Is the key.
Keep the rhythm, because sometimes if it rise a kind of off, unless you're very skilled, you know. A few times I see leading priest stop the hymn and Holy Emmanuel and we start over again. Just to show. Right. So just to show that the hymn have a certain energy, you know. This, when I know we saying hymn, you know, and man singing hymn, I don't want to diss nobody, but that's why I don't even get into no argument with nobody, you know, because this ain't no low, loose, ground level thing, you know. When I come together, even if we don't have enough to beat the drums, service starting. And I diss nobody, but you don't know when Rastaman gather together, if drums not beating, not chanting, man, don't chant without drums. But Bobo Shandy now, I mean, if the musician's not in order and it's time to rise, and I clap it out. Whatever we sing, clapping it. And we clap and sing, eh? We clap and sing until the required musicians come. Hymns, sing, chorus, and we clap and sing. Everyone has Bobo Shandy learned that. You know, so you can see now, even without the drums, there is something very important, because that clapping thing is a spiritual thing, it's an African thing. It actually draws spirit. All them things when we do as Bobo Shandy, Holy Emmanuel, we call in some mystic spirits there when we're clapping. That's why when you clap, people are supposed to be still walking up and down. It's almost like a reverence.
Yes.
In itself. So just so the audience understand that, like for example, the hymn goes through a specific process. Yes, people like myself, I get some kind of mystic training where sometimes man carry out service even by themselves. But by right, that's not the way it's supposed to be. Seven priests is supposed to be on the altar. Now, the first hymn of the service is the second priest carry up that first hymn. So, and I'm saying this to show that although we say hymn, man, it's boy, them man are talking them and sing out the hymn book. Yeah, it's an easy thing to say. So, and I can understand your sentiments, as I said in my first presentation. I see where you're coming from. But this thing deep, the structure that King Emmanuel give to us of how to sing them hymns, whether we write new hymn or change language, we have to remember the structure. There's a deep structure. The second priest writes the first hymn, and this hymn travel through this hymn book, travel through each and every man hand, especially if you're on a line. If you're on the altar, the hymn book by right stays stationary and is visited by every priest until it reach back in the hand of the priest that writes the hymn. There is some deep vibes that you don't see nowhere else. You understand? So we can't forget the heights of the order of the hymn, the humming and the chorus. We call it chorus. I like to say it's chorus with a C. We call it chorus. But you know, growing up in the world, chorus is the part of the song that have the catch as the chorus. When we say chorus, is the verse we start to I, whatever the hymn is, we start the verse part of it. And then we chime back in when it reaches to the part that people usually call the chorus. You know, I'm just explaining it to the best that I can. But these are important aspects of the hymn. You sing a hymn, you have to I, and you have to hum. You know what I mean? If you try a thing and you're trying to bring down the hymn and no humming take place, my lord, you never hum, you know. You have to I and hum, depending on the skill and depending on the type of hymn. A man might give a couple of choruses or a couple of humming before they bring it down. But you need choruses. Chorus, not the chorus, the song chorus now. The I, for those who don't know, that's what we call chorus. When we sing the hymn, the leading priest will tell the priest or the whoever have the hymn book, when his turn is done, I want a chorus. And he tell the congregation chorus, and the congregation whatever the hymn is, and the chorus now, what the chorus does, it assists you. Me, sometimes I see the chorus as a moment to learn this hymn, especially when the congregation don't really have it and say chorus, man. When it's chorus, even when I carry the service, you can see me penetrate the audience and showing them, hey, listen, I, so they understand right. So when we start to sing again, see if you can get the words and work with the rhythm. You know what I mean? A lot of us as priests, we're not clear on the altar. We're not clear at all. And once the congregation would say that, when a priest track clearly, the whole service change. It happens all the time. From you can understand the priest, the musician, everybody rise up. The priest, them on the altar, you can feel them move differently when you are clear. And that's very important. See, like I said, clear. So you hear every letter. It's very important. You know what I mean? If you want the cooperation of the congregation. You know what I mean? Some people just mean they're not singing too, you know. I mean, they read that. Some people mean they're not singing. They just having a good time. You know, especially when they see the altar need the strength. Because by right, you know, altar not supposed to be singing off, you know. The man that tracking the hymn, and so he shouldn't be singing. Even the musicians, they're supposed to be concentrated, you know. But when the strength is needed, I mean, even musicians, if I play music and I know the strength needed, I go to sing. You understand? And especially if it's my service king, oh no, this ship must sail well. If I have to sing out everything just to make sure it stay alive, that is how I put it. So the hymn itself has its own technique. It starts on a perfect altar. It starts with the second man, the second priest, and interestingly, the hymn, the sealing hymn, which would be the seventh hymn, is the first priest or the leading priest get that hymn to bring it down. So even the hymn passing through the different hands, like in morning devotion, and then it come back to the top, and so that's some different science when it comes to the 7 different stages that the spirit have to go through before it become a physical human being. To me, that's why it's called a hymn. You know what I mean? The spirit become flesh in him. So again, the hymns are very important, especially in that spiritual aspect. As I said, just a quick summary. You know, that's why I brought up testimonies of individuals that are standing members that can actually recall the hymn. That it them things they no joke, you know. It's just like, you know, sometimes you say to yourself, hey, long time I don't see this person. And then when you go around the corner, I say, well, boss, me just calling him a while ago to give the phone call. It's the same thing. The reason why this happens is because we're spiritual beings. So it's not that you just thought about them and they materialize. They were already coming, but you could feel their energy. You could feel their frequency. That's why you said, hey, long time I don't see this person, because the energy was close, and then you turn the corner and they're there. I'm saying that to say that the hymns so powerful. This deep, you know. The leading priest that rise the hymn may not even know you coming up the hill, never see you before. But the energy that hit him, that's why I said the previous time, you know. Oh yes, let me come to this before seeing them. When we say that the Father sent a glorious closing hymn, hey, listen, this is a deep conversation. When we say the Father sent a glorious closing hymn, as I was saying another time, in the ancient days, the priestess actually leave the altar and go to the Father, sit with him, and the Father will say, my Lord, this is the closing hymn. And he would come back to the congregation and say, well, the Father had sent us a glorious closing hymn. Now, in this time, where nobody leaving the altar and going to King Emmanuel, but still, guys, when the service coming down, that's exactly what I say. Well, the Father sent us a glorious closing hymn, keeping the tradition, because we did the God in flesh now is who choosing this hymn. And hear this, the King. Sometimes, even I myself and to the congregation, depending on who on the altar with I might have a closing hymn, and I say, my Lord, you think this closing hymn? Yeah, that's good. But here, what about this one? Who is this time and this time? Oh, true, my Lord. So in a sense now, although it was a little quick counseling on the altar, again, the Father had sent a glorious closing hymn. Why? Because we are seeing the God in flesh. And I'm saying that now to say that many of these elders that can testify of a specific hymn being sung when they came, in a sense, you know, their energy was coinciding with the energy of obviously the person that pulled the hymn, whether they know him coming up the hill or they know who coming up the hill. And most of the time, this happening during some heavy celebrations, according to the testimonies that I would have received from the elders. So my main point, even in just wrapping up this here, is that the hymn thing is a very spiritual thing. You know, that's why at first I started speaking about us advancing it. But I don't want nobody to get lost as if I say, boy, I'm trying to book. No, man, even before we advance it, there's certain techniques that we need to learn, even with them regular hymns. You know, it's something that sharpens you. You have to know when to drop for a short hymn, long hymn. If you don't know your hymns well, you can prolong a service and make it go off track. You know, even sometimes you as a priest, you might say, wait, oh my Lord, pull that long hymn, man. You know, just a few minutes remaining and he gone from what was that hymn? Is a specific case I'm thinking about. The hymn, do you see the Hebrew captive kneeling? Now you know that's not a hymn that you gonna pull when you're short on time. I see that happen at time. I say, wait, what happened here? And it actually carried the service. I mean, one had to fight to bring it back. He needed help. You had to go for the rest of the sailors on deck and say, my Lord, how we can do this? Chop that, and chop that, and chop that. You understand? So the hymn thing, to learn the hymn now as priests, we need, whether they're in English or whatever, the point is, we still have to develop a mind frame of being able to handle and juggle hymns. You may come, you know, my Lord, I don't want to, it's not really counting cows, right? But remember the time I in St. Lucian, priest Israel was carrying up a service there. And he have all the hymns lined up. From, I think, from the Thursday, he have all his hymn lined up. Now, when I go to battle, I just have my hymns in my head, you know. But that's a very fluid thing on the altar. Them things change like clockwork. I don't think I've ever went on the altar with specific hymns and I didn't say, hey, I gotta switch this. The king have them in the order he gonna bring them out too. I mean, give thanks to that strength. I remember that service very well. It's on YouTube on Priest Kayla's channel. But just to say though, that again, when you're on the altar as a priest, you have to have knowledge of the hymns, know what to pull when, you know me, closing hymn, opening hymns. You can't broad midday and pulling up, you know, hush was the evening hymn. No, you have to be obviously wise in that. So I just said that, you know, I said I will just meditate on the hymn once more, and to show the importance of the spirit that the hymns carry. King Emmanuel, Selassie, Jah. My Lord.
Give thanks again, my Lord. Give thanks to him. Give thanks to his majesty. We give thanks to the Most High Honorable Emmanuel Charles Edwards Melchizedek. Give thanks to the ceremonial order, you know. As I say, ancient of days still now, you know. So we give thanks for the redemption that is going through at this time. Also, we give thanks for both, you know, new members and long-standing members and even priests that get sharpening by this order. Because, you know, they are being the order is a meditation order, you know. My King Manuel Charles Edwards order is a meditation order. So it's a meditation, you know. And we have to be in ourselves, you know, be in tune, because it's to find the God within, you know. And so the order is about finding the God within, and you know, just as how is a joy, you know, because we having that same childlike spirit, that humbleness of heart and full joy ourselves in this order that we are young, you know, we're young again in the spirit. So just as, you know, like children, but different form, you say them in adult stage, you know, but they are children. You know, so hymns and these, you know, course is a joy to us. Is a joy to us as we bring them in, because remember now, an angel will tell you the first hymn that he sang. An angel will tell you the first hymn that he has ever heard coming to foundation. Now, if that person probably did go to the priest that brought up that service and check out and say, what kind of meditation was going through when him there? You could find the connection, you know, sometimes I cannot have done that. But it's a connection also, because in the foundation, you have to be like Samuel, quick to hear. So the spirit talks within. It is Negos that confirms, the spirit that leads me on. Sometimes you'll be there, and because of warfare, when you get to know the real fullness, and I enhance more the other, realize it's a time, it's a warfare, it's a spiritual warfare that is going on through. You know, these angels coming and passing through the valley of the shadow of death. They say, fireman, my lord, a banner angel, make you go and do a service here. Because remember, you know, you need a banner man, because it must, the war must not, you know, flow on top of the earth until him see 144,000 saints. So the mission of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards is seeing the saints and sending them forward That's why you'll always, the foundation of the foundation set is always wearing. Yeah, man, the priest there that will remain. What the man say, make a way in the wilderness, you know. Because if you wait upon Babylon, they won't give what you're supposed to get. They make a way in the wilderness or to go home, go in and possess the land and subdue it. But you have to go through the salvation. So there are angels that learn, that remain at the schoolroom to teach those who come. And at the time when come where those of them teacher come, they have to move on to go into the land to bring for the redemption. Also says a redemption. You know, the hymn books and Bible week, because I remember the first time Honorary Priest Janaya entered the foundation and at the you know, Priest Job. And around 7
Yeah,
of
with that
them
Priest Job.
Yeah. But those
My
times I profit that time, but I'm just they're all priests now.
True, man.
There was a hymn. Because when you're a student within the foundation, it's not about just you coming there because you're building yourself, you know. The minute you enter the foundation and start this hymn book and Bible, where these books, just textbooks, are building you on the foundation because they are textbook, you know, that you need on the foundation. You never tell us you're going to lift everything within this because the right and the wrong is in the Bible. But it is guiding you through. And those are the priests earlier that brought up that evening service, because it was a service that came after the morning service, fasting service, so it was a continuation. Angels come in the yard and was singing, and it was my son, my son.
Oh.
Yeah, I was getting a play on the phone there, you know, my son. But meanwhile, it's singing, and I listen to it. You're not hearing the words, you know, you're hearing it the first time, but you're hearing it, and that my son, welcome wanderer, welcome back to home. Thou hast wandered far away, come home, come home. So that part of the hymn, because the timing of the hymns makes the message sink more in your heavens. That is why there are certain kind of hymns. They say the Father will always, you know, pull a land of pure delight. Those hymns that have timing. So it send home a message. It's different than them probably are marching him, but those that have the space between. So when the word is uttered, that space between, that is the timing. It's that part that the music is not just the sound that the person hear the kete and the funde. The music is the timing that you don't hear between the sounds. That one is playing a very important, a vital role to know that 1-2 between the 1-2, the message, empty space gathers every message. That is where all the music is still uttering. So that music there. So when you look at it now, those hymns. So I remember the comment said, my son, and I remember the angel, man. I started looking into it and I said, wow, it's true, man. My son, my son. So you start looking into it, you start to learn. So going even to the movements of priest, so when you learn of it, now you start to study. So someone with them watching computer this time and say, wow, the video there is 30 seconds. So same way likewise, when you're on the altar in the congregation, you must know how the space of time that stands at track. So therefore, the time will come where you probably have to bring a service and certain time as on you. You could realize that stanza takes so and so amount of timing. They could draw for that hymn there. So it's a timing, everything within a timing, a learning. So as the angels come in, those that from outside, you as the priest is the selector, like I'm gonna go there, son, I'm gonna have him select. The hymns is our selections. You understand? Situations that are going through, because remember he's a healer, you know, your priest, you see a lot of things, you know. and angels will come in, but you know, so them coming from a land of destruction and pain.
Yes,
You know, observing them because you just start to dissect everything now. You're looking through, you realize, man. Try the spirit and you realize that the angel have been through a lot, and these angels have been through a lot for the strong man. So therefore, you have to go in a selection box now. And say, you probably beckon to a man and say, you see him? Tell him don't clap. Tell him to follow in the hymn book. Because so you give him the hymn book and say, follow. So meanwhile, him following and you're singing. I said, don't even tell him, say, don't sing, man, just follow the words in the mind. You become healing him with the song that you have chosen. Because it's not about just singing and clapping alone, it's a mission. That's why the hymn book and the Bible it's relevant to every situation that is going through. There must be a situation. That is why the priest come with the interpretation. He never come and him read the Bible alone and him read the Bible alone. Him stuck and say, yeah, that's where you're stuck. No, him read the Bible and then give it the interpretation there, even with the skill that you have, even with your present condition. Because he means, wow, he spoke like one with authority and not of the scribes. How could he open the eyes of the blind? So the priest is still Melchizedek order. That's why the priest still open up the eyes of the blind of what they read in the Bible and show forth. So that is the whole order of Melchizedek. So the hymns I sing, the hymns is say, heart the voice of negus crying, because remember, hymn book and Bible, you see sometimes you speak the word, some people don't grasp it. But yes, when you sing the word, just like when you talk to a child and you put it in rhymes and it gravitate more. That is why enough times some people be singing some songs and they say, yeah, that song, they be repeating it. But it was the same speech you was speaking all the time that they have no time to listen to His Majesty's speech there. It's the same speech there. They singing too. So the hymn saying, heart the voice of negus crying. Who one work today? Fields are white and harvest. Who will be the sheaves today? Loud and strong. The master call it rich word. So you're telling I tell the congregation that is why as we speak of it and the free, because the whole order, the priest speak of it, Freedom Redemption International repatriation. So no one can say it's just Bible you're just reading all the while. Freedom Redemption International repatriation. And the chorus and the Psalms read. When the person started to sing the hymn, he said, yeah, man, gathering people in the voice of the people is the voice of God, you know. Yeah, man, that's how we can get this repatriation, and then him sing it. Heart the voice of negus crying. Who will go and word to these people if calling, you know? Hymn book and Bible way. Hymn book and Bible way is calling. Hymn book and Bible way is redeeming. So in everything there, in every part of the kingdom, we're fulfilling the prophecy and history. You know, I was reading, it was an event I was going through, and I see that before, and I continue. Now, there's a virgin there, he came and he stayed on the gate area, but he had an Arabic Bible. And because he had the Arabic Bible now, you know, it's different from KGV. And a spirit checked me, say, go in the Arabic Bible and visit the part where he said, the scepter shall not depart from Judah. Now a lawgiver from betwixt his feet until Shiloh come. And I said, that's a specific part that the Bible tell me to go, the Spirit tell me to go. And when I read it, it said, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from betwixt his feet, until to whom the scepter really belongs come.
Wow.
And when I read that, you know, man, will show you, and I will King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. And when you read that book, explain it even more. You can turn things.
Yes.
So the father said, we're going to show the King James in the river Euphrates. Or we go right back our one Bible, right back on the history, but as we go through. So we said the right and the wrong is in there, man. Majesty said the greatest need you need to have is common sense. And then when you read the Bible now, because you have a person that sees without vision, the people perish. A Marcus Mosiah Garvey, that they could see the living ensample of a prophet in this day and age. I said, it will make you know, if you have a different meditation as some people think they're stuck there, you realize, no, the prophet in this time show you this is what you have to do to move. Yes, to read of it, but we have a living ensample, a living book in this time, what to do. Because I and I, even as Baba Shanti, I and I cannot be stuck just with what the Bible say alone about the prophet. If you want to analyze it and see the truth in everything, you see how Marcus Mosiah Garvey interprets that part. If you want to talk about the Christ and the mission of the Christ and just stuck and let him come crucify and him lay upon a cross and for our sins and this is that we must bow down every day and that is it. If it's that part of the Christ you're reading about in the Bible, you sing every day and you just sit up and yeah man, he's coming back again and not the Christ in this time that come and sit up with you until he said this is the mission for fundamental freedom, redemption, international repatriation. You see the Prime Minister there, you keep on knocking. You see the Attorney General there, keep on knocking. You see the media and the press, you keep on knocking. You see, meantime, that's what we're doing. Is our own private business. We're doing what Marcus Garvey said we do. We're going to buy ships ourselves. But we still keep on knocking. What Emperor Haile Selassie, I say, man, why David, David's so enough, man, and he never stuck on that, Yeah, David, King David, greatest son in this time, teacher and I what to do and to stand up. It teaches us a great man that never bow. Moses, the Joshua, the Gideons, who never need much people with him. So in every way, show yourself, no matter the obstacles you might go through, is a thing I show you. You have to know yourself as a strong man, you can still get brought down by a woman. Also, woman doesn't mean the female, it could be women of different doctrine also, that you try to mix up with the whole thing also. And because of that, you lose your sight, you don't know your focus anymore. So all of these is an ensample of and I within this time, so it's greater because greatest prophet of all time did come. So I and I greater than all these that we have been through already because the structure is just like a garment, that I and I change and come forward. So it's a song for redemption, It's a answer. And when the mist have roll away, the song. So all of these things, we shall know each other better. So instead of every day you get up, a man might get up and start fussing with that man can't take that man. He's supposed to comfort himself and say, so the mist roll away. Yeah, man, we're going to know each other better because I missed, You see it, so we have to fight against this thing that trying to keep us apart. So that is the whole connection. So we're singing the songs of joy. Joy is flowing like a river since the comforter has come. Joy like a river. So it's just after the priest culture, the priest sing a wonderful hymn that's speaking about him in the middle of that. So with what you just hear the priest culture and the psalms, when that hymn coming like the knot, the tie. And up remember, 7 priests upon the golden altar of Melchizedek, Sabbath day, 7 psalms read. It's like 7 horns. It's like 7 horns. The hymns are like 7 horns. The psalms are like 7 eyes. Because it's telling you what to do. The 7 hymns, the 7 psalms, Open up your eyes. Remember that the sin of my youth, so Lord. And to thee will I cry, O Lord, my rock. Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The earth is the Lord's. So opening up our eyes and say, yeah, man. And we're singing them, chanting them. As I said, the 24th Psalm chant, a marvelous Psalm chant that hold everyone within reverence to be chanted in all African languages, Amharic, because it must be published and concealed not. Right. And a big congregation, we must never worry self, because when the truth come, it have to disappear. So all that big congregation that they hold in Africa and try with their hymn book and Bible, the real hymn book and Bible come and you get that big congregation for yourself. So you have to have a positive mind. The big congregation that they hold, you must realize, let me get at the big congregation, but I'm setting up my thing together because I'm going for my big congregation that, them claims to them hold. I giving them the real hymns and the verses. The real Bible, the living Bible. So give thanks to every King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. Him speak up when you look on the arch, say him book and Bible, there's a specific part in the Bible, the book of Peter, be holy, for I am holy.
Okay.
Exodus 20:31.
Be holy, for I am holy.
Yes. And you see it upon the arch. And there's a book there, there's a book on the arch that open a Bible.
Yes, yeah.
Right. So him book and Bible way. We are the same people.
True,
So we are Bible owner. We are Bible owner. I remember when you have enough angels will speak up. Yeah, man, them burn down enough Bible already, man. Enough of books and them burn down. Man will speak of that, but man, I remember say that's how I live it, That's why I never King Emmanuel Charles Edwards come again and we give thanks. Returning and putting in an order because it's a dignified manner. There's a joy. That's why the Father said, invite someone to come to the Sabbath service. The perfection. And see the order of King Emmanuel Charles Edwards. That's Saint Liberty.
Yes, my Lord.
Lord.
Yes, for the full family here, because we are broadcasting radio. I know at the same time we're on the YouTube. I know we did start this evening a bit behind the original time, but still give thanks to the patience of all the ones that are still with us, of course, and of course those who are with us on the YouTube. You could always give us some of them thumbs up. Them like buttons, as they call it. It helps the video to go to a distance. Let me just bless all those who are here in this chat quickly before we go forward. People like Sean, Lucien, and Leon, of course. I harass, bless up. Everyone just giving thanks. 7 hour star, enough heights, give thanks. Jamila Francis, and just blessing everyone. VAC or Vakasi, you remove your comments. To me, there were some very good comments too, talking about the spirit of the African drums and the Mama drums, but I see he or she took off his comments. Well, you have to know why. King Gustav and Bobo Jamaica, Rain Sounds, give thanks to all those ones in the house. Yes, my Lord. As I said, we did start a bit on the tardy side. So of course, you don't know, we're going to look to even seal up in a moment, family. Obviously, what has become one of them in-depth discussions, one has become one of those in-depth conversation. More, I know we lean a bit more maybe so on the hymn book because the Bible, everyone, the Bible, the reasoning of the Bible, You can go almost anywhere and find that discussion taking place. But still, it cannot be the same as when you're speaking of King Emmanuel and I'm glad I highlighted the certain scriptures that the Father always highlighted. Isaiah 43, Micah 3, so you go Joel chapter 3, Micah 5.
Chapter 4.
Micah 4, right? And jumping between 3 and 5, right? Micah 4. There's somewhere in between it. Yeah. And you know, so there's a spirit there. And one thing that I don't know how many ones pick this up, but through, you know, Jesus, you don't know. Rasses don't really want to say no Jesus. But when we read the Bible, Jesus becomes Jesus. But when we see it in a hymn book, it becomes Jesus. Now, them kind of maths, they know. These are the kind of questions you ask yourself. Where them kind of maths come from? Who is it King Emmanuel sit down with and decide that, well, listen, when you see it in the hymn book, it is Jesus. No, sorry. It is Negus. And when you see it in the Bible, it is Jesus, you know. To the point that, you know, sometimes, and the thing is, you know, no one really tell us these things, you know, when you join this order, you know, and you're building yourself, nobody really tell you this, you know, you just observe it. And it just like it become a part of you naturally. It's a mystic thing this order is, you know. But again, it's just to show you, it may look simple, it is simple. There's a high level of simplicity. There's a high level of complexness, that's the word, in this simplicity. So it's simple, you know, but it's still complex and mystic. And the thing about it is the simplicity is not hard to learn. And that's why we easily take up the complex part of it. Because sometimes we overlook it, but it's very complex, yet still it's simple. Yeah, especially if you just come to it with a humble, willing heart. You know? Yeah, I would see that as a sealing of part, as a closing. Yes, my Lord. Any sealing words for the eye, and then we could bless the people out for the evening and come again for our next edition next round. Heavy discussion, Honorable my Lord.
Majesty, thanks. You know, we give thanks for, of course, you know, call him Emmanuel, call him from a sin, call him from destruction, Broadway, you know. So we give thanks to the calling of the Most Right Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards through this Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress, Church of Divine Salvation, the Salvation Order, the Divine Salvation Order, the Redemption Order. We give thanks for all priests, the man who build himself, and those who take up the priesthood order seriously, standing resolute in what the order stands for. You know, we give thanks to those angels. Continue. We give thanks for the listeners. We give thanks to the new members. We give thanks to the followers. You know, remember, be a student. You know, also so. Give thanks to Fundamental Freedom Redemption International Repatriation, and while we're on our journey, and I chanting, and I singing songs of redemption, you know, to full of my soul with joy as I go along the journey, because it's bringing a peace, an inward calm in I and I self as we go along the journey here to continue the journey. So we give thanks to everyone at this moment of time, and next time again, we'll meet and greet again, and give thanks to the staff again, give thanks to the engineers right there, the honor, give thanks on the battlefield also continually. Continue to lift the banners rising, 4 wings of earth, continue to lift them in a red, black, and green, with gold and green. Black 5-point star, our symbol, lion, crowned symbol, respectively. Continue to uphold and lift the banners of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress, Church of Divine Salvation. It stands and the mission of the King. Give thanks in life above all things. Again, art of love, art of celebration, come into full effect. Bless the love, my Lord and Empress.
My Lord, thank. Well, sweet. Before I see it, like positive is one like I see jump on the board since I asked for the like one single like and almost 40 people we sit there with nice and some family. Let's get the words about, this. That's all you got to do. Just press the button and that will help more people to hear what you just heard. I'm sure you want someone else to get the good news. All right. So I will just call for reverence internationally, Four Winds Universal, Earth, Sky, and Sea. Holy Manipula is Selassie, Jah, Rastafari, glory be to our Father and to the Son, the Holy One of creation. Jah was in it is now and ever shall be, Jehovah without end, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari, Black Heart the Love. Give thanks to the Father, and give thanks to the Mother of creation. Thanks to the Great One and Three. Give thanks to the blessed evening. For the Most High guidance going forward, give hope and Bible way. Give thanks for thy rod and thy staff shall comfort I and I in all our doings and saying. The words be right and not full in the way of the Black Christ. 7 words of love. God is love, that is all love. Holy Emmanuel, I, yeah, yes, Honorable. Once again.
Praise.
Blessed lover till we gather again.